Hello everyone, my name is Jay. Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Jay, where we are building a hub for healing, transformation and personal spiritual development. Today I'd like to chat to you a little bit about self-talk. We can't talk about self-talk without talking about relationship with self, because when we are discussing how we talk to ourselves, what are the words, the thoughts, the conversations that are going around in our head, we are really talking about how your relationship is with yourself. So how is it? Honestly, how is it? Most important relationships in your life are relationship with self and relationship with God, source, the universe, life, whatever you want to call that creative intelligence that gives life to all that is. They're the two most important relationships you could ever have. Self, God. That's it. How are you treating yourself? You do realize that you deserve your own love and affection as much as anyone else. I think Buddha said that. You deserve to be treated with deep kindness and compassion. All of us have made mistakes in our life. Welcome to planet Earth. How else are we going to learn unless we make mistakes? That's how we learn, through mistakes. Okay, that didn't work, so won't do that next time. I'll do it this way instead. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. That's life happening. So where are you still beating yourself up for things in the past? Where are you dragging around baggage and old hurts and old wounds that you know deep down you could really let go of? How are you treating yourself when you get up in the morning? How are you treating yourself when you go to bed at night? How are you thinking? What conversations are you having with yourself during the day? One of the keys to true inner peace and living a fulfilling life is loving yourself. Loving yourself can be a bit of a stretch if you're coming from a place of complete self-loathing, self-hatred, all of that stuff. It can be a bit of a stretch, but you can accept yourself, can you not? No, I can't accept myself. Well, can you accept that you can't accept yourself? No, I can't accept that I can't accept myself. Well, can you accept that you can't accept that you can't accept yourself? Keep going until you can find some acceptance. That can often be the doorway that leads us into loving ourselves, finding some love for ourselves. Now, this is a huge conversation. It's a huge topic. What I really want to share is why you're being so mean to yourself. Honestly, I see a lot of beautiful aspects of God, of life, expressing here that are miserable and that hate themselves because they're caught up in some lie, some illusion, something that they're thinking about themselves, a faulty pattern, a faulty belief. And so they're suffering intensely because of it. Now, everyone's got free will. You can do that if you want. You can. One of my mentors has said many times, why the hell would you choose that with your free will? Why would you choose to suffer when you can just choose joy, and you can choose to behave in ways that create more joyful and loving outcomes? Remember, every choice has a consequence. So what you choose now obviously has a ripple effect. That's cause and effect. If you want to experience more self-love, then start self-loving now. If you want to experience more joy, then start choosing things that create joy right now for you. Oh man, but I just feel so depressed all the time. It's just so hard and I'm miserable all the time. Okay, so for a period of time, you've been living a certain way, you've been thinking a certain way, and you've created this reality that you are now watching this video in. If you're not happy with your relationship with self and with your life as it stands right now, change it. You can. It might not be easy and it might not happen overnight, but you can't expect to be living a certain way, thinking a certain way, emoting a certain way, behaving a certain way for a decade, a year even, whatever, 3 months, few decades. All of these well-trodden paths of behavior and thoughts that you've had for however long. Oh no, I don't want to do that anymore. Well, that's not just going to stop. You have to reprogram yourself. I always see it like this train's going in a certain direction for 10 years. You've been going this direction, and then all of a sudden the driver goes, no, I want to go left. I want to do a 90-degree turn and go that way now. The train doesn't just go like that. It takes time and energy to pull that train up. It's the same with you and your personal spiritual development. If you want to change your mind, and you have the right to change your mind, literally, I'm going to start treating myself with kindness and respect. This goes for anything in life, any changes that you want to make, but we're talking about bettering your relationship with self, which is really important. I want to treat myself with more kindness honest. I can see that these thoughts that I'm having about myself, the negativity, it's causing me great suffering and grief, no longer serves me. I want to change that. Well, guess what? You've got all this momentum like the train going in this way. You're going to have to put just as much energy into pulling that train up, right, as you put into making it go that way. It's just physics. Yes, you've made the choice now. I'm going to start speaking nicely to myself. I'm going to choose to love myself, to accept myself. Great, let's do that. Universe goes, awesome, child of mine. Great choice. I want to support you with that. Here's all of the patterns and the behavior that you have been choosing for the last 10 years, right? Because that energy is in motion. You need to face all that and say, oh yeah, there's how I used to do it. I'm doing it this way now. And you just need to keep re-choosing, acknowledging the old, acknowledging that this is how you used to do it, and then going, oh, okay, great, I'm going to do it this way now. Some people get disheartened when get inspired to have light bulb moments and, oh my goodness, I've been behaving in this way. It's very limiting and stifling. I have had this insight of how I could be more open, and it's expanded and abundant and joyful, and there's beautiful friends, and there's just this new life that's better, lighter. And then when it doesn't completely change overnight, they get disheartened and, oh, am I doing something wrong, or this doesn't work? No, it's just physics. You got to clean it up. You got to clean up and face all of the times that you've chosen something different, and then you need to go, oh, it doesn't need to be a big hoo-ha. You just go, oh, there's that old choice. Right, okay, know that I'm doing it a different way now, so I'm going to do that. And you just keep doing that until you put enough energy into the train going the other direction, and you just keep going, and it takes as long as it takes. A lot of us have habits and ways of being that are just so ingrained in our beingness that we can't even imagine sometimes that our life could be different, or we could be different. The thing is, you can be. In any moment, you can change your life. You can change the way you relate with yourself. You can change your relationship with yourself. How you are feeling about yourself. Your relationship with self will be directly reflected in your external world. If you think that you're worthless, then of course, as the creator of your reality, that's going to be reflected in your life. If you don't feel worthy of a beautiful partner, a respectful, loving, kind partner, then of course you're not going to attract a respectful, loving, kind partner. And hang on a minute there, let's dive in a little bit deeper. If you're not treating yourself in a loving, respectful and kind manner, no one else is going to. Even if they are, you don't think you're worthy of that, and you're treating yourself disrespectfully, and whatever the opposite of kindness is and the opposite of love, if you're putting yourself down and you're treating yourself like that, even if someone is being kind to you, you're not going to receive it, and you're probably going to see it as something other than it actually is. How's your relationship with self? How is your self-talk? We have thousands of thoughts every day. Well, that's not true. The mind can have thousands of thoughts every day, yet we can discipline the mind through meditation and other techniques, because ultimately the mind is a tool. You have a mind, but you're not your mind. We want to start to get to know ourselves more. How are you speaking to yourself? Develop more self-awareness. What's actually going on? Remember, your thoughts create your reality. They're powerful. So how are you thinking? Thoughts then turn into words and actions, and then all of a sudden your thoughts are manifest on the ground. So it's very important to become mindful of what you're thinking. Start to consciously choose your thoughts. That's a cool thing. And it just comes down to self-awareness, expanding and cultivating more awareness about what's actually going on in your internal world. Deep introspection is needed. Being present and grounded is also required. Giving yourself hugs is necessary. For me, if I want to change something in my life and it's really important to me, I focus on it until it's changed. That means every morning when I get up out of bed, I have my new thing that I'm working towards, and I focus on it before I do anything else. I mean, I might have a drink and I might get up and stretch and do all that. Yet very soon after arising, before I engage in anything else really, I sit with my new plan, my goal, the thing that I'm working with. Let's say it's speaking better to myself. Right, so I've got that in front of me in my journal. I'm speaking nicely to myself. I'm speaking in a loving, kind way to myself. So my job during the day is to notice my thoughts. It's a real focus for me. So I wake up and I'm like, oh, that's right. Yeah, I just realized that I'm not really speaking to myself that great, and it's really affecting negatively my relationship with myself and my relationship with others because I'm just mean to myself. Right, I want to stop doing that. I've had this vision and feeling of how my life could be if I was kinder and loving to myself. Awesome. I want some of that. Right, so I'm retraining myself, and it takes 28 days to retrain yourself and reprogram yourself. So you got to stick at it. And that's why I said that some people get really disheartened when their life hasn't changed like that. Just because they've changed their mind, the next day they're facing all the old patterns and all the old behaviors. They stop and they think it's not working. Their motivation leaves. They're back in the same groove. And that's why a lot of these big motivational weekends, they get pumped up, which is so good, because it's like, oh my goodness, all this insight of how it could be different, how my life could be different. Yet then comes the work afterwards, and a lot of people fall flat there and again think they're doing something wrong. It's not that. Here's the insight of how your life could be different. Now it's up to you to face all of the stuff that's getting in the way of that, pulling the train up and starting to put energy in a different direction. And that takes commitment. It takes determination, it takes patience, it takes kindness, it takes tolerance, it takes a better relationship with self. So here's my task. It's really important to me to change how I'm speaking to myself. So I wake up with that, I meditate with that, I'm going to work, I'm doing whatever it is, but that is in my awareness. Right, how do I do that? Well, I've got to be more self-aware of how I'm talking to myself. Okay, so I need to be present more, right, and just aware of how I'm speaking to myself, and make sure that I am being kind, whatever affirmations work to you, or just general loving responses to life and your environment and things that are happening in your world and around you, just making sure that I respond to things in a loving, kind way, and catch myself if I don't. Oh yeah, that's the old, how could I respond differently? What would love do? That's a great question. I ask myself that all the time. What would love do in this situation? If you've missed it and you've been in the old, or I've missed it and I've been in the old, that's okay. Don't beat myself up. How could I have done it differently? Right. Okay, well, I'll do that next time. And a nightly review helps all this. So if you're busy and you have a busy life, then you might not be able to catch it, review it, and see how you could have done it better in real time, in the moment. So nightly review, just like when I get up and I set my day, preview for the day, what I'm working on, my intention. Review, how did I go? How did I go today? How did I go with my plan and my goal? And how did I go with changing how I'm speaking to myself? If there are moments where I definitely could have done better, I meditate on those, and from this clear, still space in my nightly review, I go, oh, this is how I could have done it. And then I visualize myself doing it in that way. This is called the recovery strategy, and it's also called setting up new scenarios, which is another video. So nightly review, I just see how I went. I dialogue with myself to see what was going on in those moments where I was slipping into the old, if I was being mean to myself, if I was responding to things happening in my life from a place of fear. Remember, I'm all about love. So what would love have done in that moment? In my review, I can see it. In hindsight, we can see so much. I write and dialogue with myself to see the things that were going on and getting in the way, to give me more clarity. And then again, I meditate on all of those and set up new scenarios of how I would and how I could do it differently. Now, I find if I do that morning and night, and then I'm waking up in the morning and I'm reviewing all the insight from the nightly review. So you can imagine we're starting to get a snowball effect here. Oh yeah, when this person said this, I did this old thing. But I remember meditating on that and seeing, oh, I could have done it this way because that's what love would have done. Oh, when I was in the traffic and I got cut off, I behaved in this way. It's a really old way. And I dialogued with myself and realized that it's because I was actually pissed off with my dad for something. had nothing to do with this person that cut me off. It was just something that happened in the car with my dad bloody 30 years ago. Oh, that's a great thing to let go of. Right, and how could I do it differently moving forward? Visualize that, feel that. Okay, right. So I'm waking up, reviewing all the nightly review, remembering my intention is, in this example, building a better relationship with myself, talking in a pleasant, kind manner to myself always. Right. So then, again, we have another day with all of those new insight. We take that into our day, get to the end of the day, review, how'd we go? Oh, look, yeah, this person said pretty much the same thing and I responded in a loving, different way. Victory, tick. All right, where did I choose the old though? Where were the old beliefs and patterns coming in? Right, that's okay. How would I do it differently? You can see how the momentum builds when you're doing nightly review and morning preview. It really builds, and then before you know it, so much can change and has changed, and you are transforming yourself. This is transformation. There's 3 phases of change, which is another video, yet I'll briefly mention it now. It's that insight light bulb moment that we have. That's number 1. So we get inspired with how we could be different, with how our life could be better, where we are limiting ourselves and we become aware of a whole bunch of things that just don't serve us anymore. We become aware of how our life could be better. Great, let's do that. Okay, awesome. Now is the integration phase. So that is what basically I've been talking about. Facing all of the old and going, hey old, I remember you, but I'm choosing this now, this new way, because I've had this light bulb moment that says I can be this way, and then it creates a whole new reality that I really want to experience. So I'm doing that. So the integration phase happens for as long as it takes, and that is basically the pulling up of the train. It's just meeting all that old energy because you've been doing it this certain way for however long, and you meet it and you choose the new. So basically you're pulling up that energy and you're going, great, thank you, transmuting, transforming. I'm choosing this now. I'm choosing this now. I choose a new, I choose a new, I choose a new. Choo choo. Yes, train going in a different direction. Choo choo. I choose a new, I choose a new. Right, and guess what? When you integrate that new behavior, guess what starts happening? Oh yeah, you start actualizing a new reality. That's the 3rd step in the 3 phases of change. Light bulb moment, integration. As you're integrating, you're choosing the new all the time. You're meeting the old. Hey mate, I remember you, I'm doing it differently. You've done that enough times, so you start actualizing a new reality for yourself, because the same things are happening, right? But you're behaving differently, and guess what? Eventually, because you're behaving differently, you start creating new things. So those experiences that you were having, they stop happening. You're choosing to respond differently. So you've rewritten the script. There's this old script that's been written. This person says this, I say this, I think this, when I get up I do this, when I go to bed I do this, I'm pissed off when I do this, I'm miserable, I think this way. Oh, we scrapped a lot of that. Wow. As soon as you start building momentum with the new, then things start changing around you. And what you're doing is you're actualizing that light bulb moment that you had. That's the 3 phases of change. I will do a video on that. So, my friend, relationship with self, relationship with God, with source, with life, with the universe. How is it? You deserve your own love and affection. That's it. Key to inner peace is how you feel about yourself. This can be a journey, of course. It's a journey of self-discovery. I would encourage you to walk that journey courageously. Start looking within more and more and more. Start discovering who you actually are. Start looking at what's actually going on for you. Start inquiring, how is my relationship with myself? And you might be someone that does this work. You might have been on the spiritual path, personal spiritual development train, going that way, but if we want to go that way, you know what to do now. For ages, yeah, my relationship with self is great. Great. It can always be greater. We're never there yet. How is it actually for you? And what can you implement in your day to create more care, more loving, more support for yourself? Because remember, ultimately, once we're adults, It's basically on us to champion ourselves, to be our own best friend, to be our own counsel, to be our own guidance, to be our own caregiver and taker to ourselves. And that doesn't mean we shut everyone else and we're lone wolves, of course. We absolutely receive the beautiful love and support, if it's unconditional and genuinely heartfelt, from people who want to nurture our hearts and look after us. Of course, we receive that. Yeah, we don't need it. That's a thing, isn't it? We don't need it. Why? Because we're self-sourcing. The basics of self-sourcing, my friend, is talking nicely to yourself, having positive self-talk, championing yourself, being your best friend, being the mum and the dad that you never had, being the best friend that you never had, being your own cheer squad. You may have had great parents growing up. A lot of people watching this video and subscribing to the channel didn't, and guess what? That's life happening. Once we're an adult, it's up to us to reparent ourselves. It's up to us to be the parent that we never had. Balanced parent, championing ourselves, cheering ourselves on, yeah, also being firm when we need to. Like, that's not actually okay. Stop doing that. Discipline. Now, this is a big topic that I could talk forever and ever on. Yeah, basically, I just wanted to love you guys and say, how is your relationship with self? How are you treating yourself? Because loving, accepting yourself, undergoing deep healing is just one of the most beautiful things that we can experience in life. I don't think there's much else to do here except evolve, and evolve means raising up, and that will involve healing, and that will involve positive self-talk.